McClellan banks it off the boards to center ice. And back with it is Caleb Sarin, just acquired by the Rattlers from the St. George Ravens. Bill Seichikov gets it up to center ice, trying to get away from Meyerchick. He finds Trokin, who gains entry. Got a backhander off, and Patrick Cullen, who, despite a valiant effort a week ago, couldn't come away with the win there, made the stop. And now it is picked up and iced by the Rattlers. Both netminders facing some early tests in this one. Shane Brannick looking to build off of a shutout victory back on Wednesday on the other side of town here against the Bulls. And of course, going up against the Bulls' crosstown rival Rattlers is a whole other beast. The draw, Jobin Dore. Morawski flipped it up ahead. Meyerchick gains entry, trying to feed Sarev, but that's poked away. Nice play by Seichikov. Back in front again, and Meyerchick had that knocked away from him as well. Now he dishes down low. Here's Sarev in the corner, back to the line. Meyerchick with a shot. That's blocked in front by Carter. And Morawski gets on it here, takes it behind the net. Trying to center one in front. That's poked away. Kept in by Meyerchick, and a shot is shrugged aside and held on to by Shane Brannick. That's definitely going to be a big test for him. And a shutout victory back on Wednesday is definitely a confidence booster for him. The Rattlers are definitely going to keep pressing here. Ovakimian sends it deep. Chasing after it is Pavel Tooney. He gets on it here in the corner. Try to shake loose of Kurbanov, who's all over him. Zelak gets in there with Philip Schulander, a returning Rattler from last year's Russell Cup winning season. Back up to center ice. Kier Shepard trying to find Trokin. That's picked off by Schulander. Back up ahead. Zelak gave it away. Kurbanov will toss it back for Jacob Shipley. Kopech takes a run at him. The Knights stay with it. Trokin leaves it for Shipley as Meaford looks to start a rush. Pass misses everyone. No icing because Berezin gave an effort to touch it. Now to the net goes Cullen. Over Kimian, and now Schulander. Backhands it up to center away from traffic. Picked up and sent back in by Shepard as Meaford conducts a change as Meyer-Bergeon's unit has come on. Meanwhile, Ovakimian engages in a battle with Timraz Olsen. Schulander kicks it up to center, trying to get by a man. The second man back, that being Schwarr. Stolen off him. Now chasing after it is another newly acquired Rattler, a forward, Adam Somarowski. Taken away here, though, by Meyer-Bergeon. Quick outlet. Timraz Olsen will flip it in from the red line. Cullen goes out of his net. Gave it away to Schwarr and a feed in front, and Timraz Olsen didn't know it was coming his way as he had his back turned to it. Now it's set back in by Somarowski, and Croteau, the Knights captain, has it back. His D partner, Xavier Boldu, flips it up to center. Meyer-Bergeon couldn't knock it down. It is by Schwarr and backhanded as far as the top of the circle where Plotnikov is positioned. Pass went off a couple sticks. Mamadov would have been offside if he touched that, so the Rattlers had to tag back up as Boldu controls this. Now Croteau to the line, not out. Munitz keeps it alive. Quick feed over to Plotnikov, far side. Down low, Munitz engages there with Boldu. Boldu ends up going down, and play is halted as they couldn't get that puck loose. Yeah, there was also a broken stick that was there too. And there was a bit of a yard sale in that battle along the end boards. It was a busted twig, and the puck being lodged in the boards were both factors into what got play to stop. Plotnikov in a taken offensive zone draw. He wins it back to Sarin left point. Former St. George Raven got it through. And Shore chopped that away as Plotnikov was looking for it. Now Isaac Carlson in the corner, trying to shake loose of Shore, and he does. Now tries to spin away from him a second time. Fed in front, and Mamedov is robbed point blank by Brannick. That's a big time stop there. And as great of a scorer that Isaac Carlson is, he's also a great playmaker, and he exemplified that right there as he had Giordano Shore all over him. But good old Denny Savardian spinorama is what got Carlson to get away from him, and a quick feed in front, and Mamedov is definitely shaking his head after he missed that chance. Up to center it goes. Mamedov blasts it back in. Brannick out of his net will play it aside. Wanted to leave it for Boldu, but a couple of Rattlers converged after it. And now it comes loose to the point. Sarin with a drive. That bounces off a body right to the blue pane, and it's swept out of harm's way just in the nick of time by Croteau. Nice play by the Knights captain. Now Sarin had a stick knocked out of his hands. Rattlers want to call. They're not going to get it. Goes back into their zone. Here's Isaac Carlson. In the offensive zone, Isaac Carlson drives wide on Croteau. Takes it behind the net. Croteau stays with him. Captain on captain battle. It's not been officially announced yet, but rumor has it that Isaac Carlson could have the C on his chest not too long from now, as Brannick shuts down another bid, and there's company in front. Ova Kemyan, a little bit of a stare down to one of the Knights. He's challenging someone down there. I mean, of all the players on this current Rattler squad, I mean, it's plainly obvious that after last year's unbelievable campaign from Isaac Carlson, it would make total sense for him to have the C on his chest. Errant pass bounces up to center. Mihail Sichikov, fan on the breakout pass. Meyerchik was outside the line as he tried to play it back in. Now it comes loose in front of the Rattlers bench. There's going to be a penalty coming up here. Borowski got run into. And it looks like it's going to be LeBlanc going off. Calls a hit from behind. Little battle in front of the Rattlers bench. And Xavier LeBlanc caught his man on the numbers, and the arm went up immediately. So with 13:56 left in the first period, the Rattlers are going to have a chance to strike first. They're going to get Plotnikov, Tsarev, Mamedov, Carlson, and Munitz out for this man advantage. It's going to be Brannick's first real test here as well. Off the draw, it comes back to the line. Munitz gave it away, and hustling after is Timuraz Olsen, trying to get a short-handed chance. Stops up and feeds one in front. Shore couldn't pull the trigger as he had a stick tied up. And a nice defensive effort by Mamedov. Back in the Rattler zone, here's Matvey Munitz, leaving it for Isaac Carlson. Shore eyeing him as he turns on the Jets up the right side. Tried to drop it off, but was spun off there by Timuraz Olsen. Carlson still maintains control. Tried to shoot one, and getting a piece of it is Brannick. Back to the line. It could not be held by Munitz. He has to go back down to the Rattler zone to regain control. That was a tough save that Brannick had to make there as Carlson tried to elevate that wrister. Here comes Mamedov, full flight up the right side. Stops up on Joe Banderay and sends it back to the line for Munitz. Off to the near side. Carlson couldn't knock it down. It's in the corner. Was nearly lost in the skates of the referee, but Carlson gets it back. Off to the side of the net. A backhander is stopped. Rebound, and they score! It looks like it was Mikhail Plotnikov that jammed it in on the backhand. It's a power play goal, and the Rattlers strike first. It was a mad scramble in front of the net. As that shot came through, three Rattlers surrounding the blue paint. Brannick could not get control, and it does appear that Plotnikov was the one that jammed it in. Indeed, Plotnikov's goal. Isaac Carlson, the lone assist. Borowski sends it up ahead. Schulander tries to fight off LeBlanc. Borowski gets it back after Rattlers didn't like what they saw. Quick feed up ahead off the stick of Kopech. Carrying it up further is Tooney. Try from a sharp angle, and that's blockered up and out of play by Shane Brannick. .12:09 left to go in the first period. For those just tuning in, I'm Cliff Kirby, standing in for Nick Stella. Off the tie-up, it comes back to Ovakimian, who walks down the far wall. Punch down low, Tooney gets after it behind the net. Trying to get away from Shipley. Fed over to the far side, and Ovakimian is on it first. Sends it down low. Here's Kopech behind the net, trying to center one. Glove down by Tooney and fires one. That's off of Zilka, and it stays in play. Bounces in front of the net. Shipley tried to clear the zone but couldn't. Shepard looks to do the same, and that he does. Flipped over to the far side. Kurbanov was looking to bank it off the high glass, but he sent it a little too high as it went out of play. It's a 1-0 Rattler lead. 11:39 left in the first period, as not too long ago, Mikhail Plotnikov got the scoring started for the Rattlers on the power play. Back with this is Caleb Sarin, the newly acquired Rattlers D-man. Spent last year with the St. George Ravens. Mysagov gets bumped into by Shipley. Natan Svedolf dropped it off, and Sarin blasts it in. Zilka for Shipley. Quick give and go up ahead. Colby McClellan looked to send it up ahead, too far to LeBlanc's reach. Colby McClellan had 2 of the 3 Knights goals back on Wednesday night at the Bob Fallis Arena, where the Knights took down the Bradford Bulls by a score of 3-0. Loose at center now. Javier LeBlanc off to the right side, and Croteau, the Knights captain, sends it in. Now Trokin fires one off the post. Very close call there, but it still remains a 1-goal lead for the team in green and gold. In comes Natan Svedolf. Ooh, Croteau nails him. Good old-fashioned hip check. Now stick goes flying. Knights look to move up. They could have numbers. Trokin drops it off. LeBlanc into the middle. McClellan tried to fire one. It's fed in front, and unable to tap it in was LeBlanc. He had a wide open net off a quick give and go. LeBlanc, you can maybe hear him, I don't know, but he was definitely upset after he missed a wide open net. Perfect setup by McClellan, but LeBlanc just couldn't finish. Plotnikov off to the far side. Mamedov, a backhander. Kick save is made by Brannick. Now Muniz on the near side. He gets crunched along the boards as a battle ensues there. Schwarr gave it away. Plotnikov sends it deep. Croteau and Carlson give pursuit as it comes loose to the far side. Meyer Bergeron couldn't clear. Cut by Arekov. Trying to clear the zone, but unable to is Meyer Bergeron. He doubles back, and now he will backhand one up ahead. And Carlson couldn't keep it in time. Now he's pressured by Schwarr. He is then aided by Mamedov as it's sent up ahead, but broken up quickly as it's flipped to center by Tsishikov. Back with this is Muniz. He's out there with his deep partner in Roman Arekov as it's sent in. Plotnikov chases after into the corner, and a battle ensues there. Giordano Schwarr turned it over in front, and Carlson rang it off the crossbar, and it goes out of play. Either that or Brannick just barely got a piece of it. Well, another very close call for Isaac Carlson. It appeared at first that it went off the top of the crossbar and out of play. Very close one for sure. But the way the Knights bench got a little bit fired up after that, it could have been Brannick just barely steering that one out of harm's way. Another really good look for the big number 24. He came very close to doubling the Rattlers' lead, but it still remains 1-0 for now as it's fed up the right side, and in comes David Meyerchick. Drifts off to the middle, takes a hit to drop it off to Sarev, who fires and scores! Sergei Sarev, off a beautiful drop pass from Meyerchick, makes it 2-0 Rattlers. Thing of beauty. And Sarev gets the goal, yes, but you gotta look back at the play that David Meyerchick made. They always say sometimes you gotta take a hit to make a play, and that's exactly what David Meyerchick did, as he took a little bit of a bump as he got a drop pass off at Sarev. Oliver Koch was credited with the second assist on the Sarev goal. It was 2-0. As a shot off the draw misses wide from Shepard Dobeka. We'll go back to Knights territory to get this. Turn it over, Shoelander trying to send it down low. That's off the mark with Brian Kopech. Now it comes loose, bounces in front, and Brannick will get a hold of that for a whistle. .809 remaining here in this opening frame. Mikhail Plotnikov and Sergei Sarev have the two Rattlers goals. Offensive zone draw to be taken by Svedolf against Trokin, and it is won by Trokin. Isakov couldn't get a hold of it. McClellan does and flips it up to center. In comes Xavier LeBlanc, driving wide on Hutko, fires one, and Patrick Cullen is forced to make a stop. Given the circumstances that the Meaford Knights have found themselves in, they're definitely going to have to push up the ante a little bit offensively. But we've seen last week just how hard it is to beat Patrick Cullen, as the game winner for Ville Marie here last week was a pretty nasty one. Just a jam play it in front of the net. Ooh, shot off the post from long range from Arekov. As Giordano Schwar gets it up through center. Timraz Olsen sends it in the rest of the wing. Matvey Munitz up ahead for Carlson. Off to the left, Mamedov gains entry. Mamedov tried to drop it off, but that's taken away by Schwar. He will get it as far as center before Plotnikov takes it right back for the Rattlers. Off to the right side, in comes Carlson. Trying to get away from Boldu. Trying to center one, that's off a skate back to the line for Munitz. Twists and turns, looks through traffic. Nearly got double teamed, but the Rattlers still maintain possession as Carlson helps him out and takes it to the back and fires one that's tipped in! It looks like Matvey Munitz got the redirect in front, and it is 3-0 Rattlers. Yeah, it does appear that number 26 got the redirect in front. But again, it's the unbelievable awareness of Isaac Carlson after winning that puck battle in the corner, taking it back to the line and shooting it through traffic. And a stick was available, and Matvei Munitz steered that one down. I'll let you hear this. That's Munitz from Carlson and Plotnikov, as you have just heard. The Rattlers are buzzing now. Here's 6:35 left in the first. It is a 3-0 lead for the green and gold. Svedolf cleanly wins an offensive zone drop. Oakimian pumps it back in. Isakov chases after it. Battle ensues in the corner. Dug out of there. McClellan nearly lost in his skates. But now he will skate it up through center and lob it in from the red line. Out of the net goes Cullen to play it aside for Arseny Ovakimian. To the line and out thanks to the sweeping play by Somorovsky. Newly acquired forward wearing number 6 in white. Dominikas Moravsky sends one up ahead. Somorovsky steered that one further, gets by a man, and carries it in. The rest of the Rattlers are changing as Somorovsky trying to center one. Backhander by Mysakov, and Branik is able to get a hold of that one. And this just comes to show just how quick the Rattlers are on their feet. And even when they're conducting a change, Somorovsky was still able to make that play in front, and Branik had to make another tough stop. Saren leaves it for Hotko. Quick give and go, finding Oliver Kochin over the line. Koch with the bump to drop it off to Tsarev. Tsarev looks. 3 Knights in front of him. Drops it back to the line for Saren, who gives it back to Sergei Tsarev. Takes it behind the net, centers one in front, and Meyerchik couldn't get a clean handle on that. Now it goes up to center, and Saren is back with this for the Rattlers. Tsarev into the middle. Meyerchik bumps it out to Koch, gets a return. Out to the far side, it's left for Hotko, who closes in and fires one. That's blocked in front, and Zelak tried to clear the zone, couldn't. Picked up by Carter, and he will send it all the way down, and an icing is called on Meaford with a tick under 5 left in the first period. There's a three 0 Rattler lead. Not too long ago, Matvei Munitz extended the lead even further. As it's banked off the high glass and back down. No icing this time. So Rekov is back controlling this. Got up the middle, picked off there. Got off to the near side, Carter's on it. Trying to find Meyer Bergeron, but that pass was too far out of his reach, so Rekov is back on it in his own corner. Trying to muscle his way out of the zone, couldn't. A feed in front, McClellan, and a quick poke check, and then Cullen gets bumped into right afterwards. And that draws a bit of a crowd following the whistle for that. Colby McClellan is going to serve this one as he went hard to the net, trying to get on that loose puck, and he ran into Patrick Cullen. As I mentioned before, McClellan had 2 of the 3 Knights goals back on Wednesday when they beat the Bulls 3-0. He came very close to getting another, but he got a load of the goalie instead of the puck that was loose in front. Goaltender interference is the call on Colby McClellan. Another power play for the Rattlers. Here's Mamadov top the right circle. trying to get away from Trokin. Sends it down low. Plotnikov in the corner, trying to shake loose of Boldu. Two keep battling there. Mamedov pokes it down low. Sarev gave it away, and Kroto will pick it up and send it all the way down. Calling out of his net, leaves it for Matvei Munitz, who has a goal earlier. Off a deflection from an Isaac Carlson shot. Here is Carlson fighting Mamedov. Moving up the left side, got a backhander off, and that's poked at loose in front, and Carlson couldn't get a hold of it there. Comes back to the line for Munitz, trying to keep it in. Gets it off to Plotnikov. Moves off and feeds it over. Mamedov with a shot, and Branik is able to smother that for a whistle. That's another thing that the Rattlers really excel at, is being really physical and winning a lot of 50-50 puck battles along the boards. And that was another prime example of that. If teams want to beat the Rattlers, that's something that they've got to do, is be really strong in those battles along the boards. Here's Carlson. Back to Munitz with a drive. That's blocked by Schwarr. Goes into the corner. Mamedov's on it. Pokes it loose to the far side. Munitz couldn't get there. Timraz Olsen does, and it's cleared back down again. 48 seconds left in the penalty on McClellan, as Isaac Carlson controls this. Skates it up the right side. Has Plotnikov with him. Takes it in behind the net. Carlson still in control. Assesses his options. Still maintaining control of the puck down low. Boravsky couldn't bank it in on the front side. Now it comes to the line. Orekov with a puck fake and a feed over to Meyerchick right side. Cross ice to Carlson, and a shot is blocked in front. Shipley got in the way of that. Now behind the net. Plotnikov a wraparound. That's intercepted and cleared all the way down by Timraz Olsen. The Rattlers definitely had the right idea, but unfortunately, they just couldn't maintain clear control of the puck. Meyerchick in the dying seconds of the Rattlers power play, which has now ended. Left it for Borowski. Bradford, of course, still looking to put on the pressure. As out of the box comes McClellan, looking to lob it up ahead. Chasing after it is Joe Bandere, trying to get a backhander off, and looks like he got slashed. It is a hook, in fact. I thought it was a slash at first, but nonetheless, Oliver Koch is going to go to the box. 2:12 to go in the first period. This will be the first power play of the game for Meaford. Colby McClellan came flying out of the box trying to spring Joe Bandore on a partial breakaway. And Koch, who was trying to get back, ended up giving him a little bit of a yank. And Meaford Knights now have a chance to get on the scoreboard. A couple minutes of period number one. Here comes Xavier Boldu through the middle, gains entry, drops it off, and here's Timraz Olsen. Meyer Bergeron wanted the pass, but was a little bit off the mark, and it goes back as far as the Meaford line, where Trokin has control of this. Peels away from Carlson, leaves it for Meyer Bergeron as the Knights look to start a rush. Ahead comes Dimitri Meyer Bergeron through the middle, poked away and cleared back down. Yeah, that's not really the smartest move for players to make when it comes to getting through that defensive system. Oh, look out. Carlson chops it away from a man and looks for a short-handed chance. He fires one, and that's just barely steered away by Branik. Now Borowski fired one. That's off of McClellan's stick and out of play. Yeah, that's definitely another thing that teams are going to have to take note of when it comes to the Rattlers, and specifically their defensive system. It's not really the smartest idea to drive straight up the middle on the rush. Even when you're on a power play, they're so aggressive on the forecheck, and you're going to have to make a quick decision. You either go up left or you either go up right, and there's no in between. Here the Knights go left, and Seichikov tried to gain entry, but Orekov ties him up. Now Croto trying to center one. That's whiffed on, and now a battle ensues, and the Rattlers win said battle as Arekov gets the clear. 20 seconds left in the Meaford power play. 28 seconds left in the first period as it's lobbed back down once more by Arekov. And Giordano Shore back with it. Final seconds of the power play. Doesn't look like Meaford's going to get another chance. Probably just going to want to run down the final few seconds of the first. Off a steel Koch out of the box. Won't get very far there as a bit of a collision ensued. One last chance. Karanen's not going to get it as the horn sounds to signal the end of the first period. But a pretty dominant showing by the Bradford Rattlers as a strike for three. Mikhail Plotnikov in the power play, followed by tallies by Sergei Tsarev and Matvey Munitz. That's where we stand after 20 at the end of the first period. The Bradford Rattlers are ahead 3-0. welcome back to the Bradford Wesco-Embry Leisure Center for the second period of this Sunday night game between the Rattlers and the Knights. It is a 3-0 Bradford lead as we're about to get the second period underway. Promakov has taken the opening draw for the second period. A power play goal back in the first to get things started, followed by tallies from Sergei Tsarev and Matvey Munets. I was saying back in the first, and I'll reiterate on that again here, one thing that Meaford's got to do is definitely up their speed game. If you want to beat the Rattlers, you got to have a ton of speedy guys, and you got to up their speed game in order to generate more chances. Here's a quick shot that stopped. Juicy rebound comes loose, and Brannick keeps track of that with Isaac Carlson right in front of him. Yeah, that's definitely one thing that has made the Rattlers so great. Time and time again, they're all over the place. A lot of fast guys. And, of course, Isaac Carlson all over it. Borowski chomps it back in. Back with it now is Seichikov. Carrying it up the left side, gaining entry. D-man out of Estonia. Makes a move, trying to drop it off, but that's taken away. And Ovakemian will leave it for Borowski. Trying to clear it, bounced off of McClellan. And it came right to Tsarev, who doubles back. And the Rattlers look to start another breakout rush. He makes a move around Timras Olsen as he brings it in. Centers one in front, and Seichikov breaks that up. It's still loose, and Borowski is able to recover there. Battle on the corner for it. Borowski tries to dig it loose. He gets control of it. Borowski sends it back to the line from Meyerchik. Shoots one through screen. That's not by Brannick. And it's picked up and carried up through center by Trokin. He brings it in, drops off to McClellan. That shot hit a stick and went wide. Now back with it is Ovakemian. Quick feed up ahead, and Borowski just missed Tsarev on that long stretch pass, and it results in a Rattlers icing. Off to Cullen's left. Schwarr wins it back to the line. Jeremy Kreef tried to fire one. That's blocked by Meyerchik. Meyerchik gets on it, slips away from Kreef. Now it's to generate a possible 2-on-1. Meyerchik closes in, fires one, and that's turned aside by the pad of Brannick. Now Meyer Bergeron backhands that all the way down, and it'll go for an icing on the Knights. Straight ices here. 2:08 into period number 2. It's a 3-0 Rattler lead. Off the draw backhander is stopped by Brannick as Philip Schuhlander close to getting a goal in his return. Now Kopech going to take an offensive zone draw. It is won by the Rattlers, but Meyer Bergeron was able to get it up to center ice. Rattlers had to tag back up. Carter back with it. Turned it over. Schuhlander moves down the slot, and that's poked away by Brannick. Valtuni makes it play back to Berezin. That shot's blocked. Backhander from Svedolf is broken up. Patrick Zilka will get it up to center. Valtuni drops it off Svedolf. Quick feed up ahead. Berezin couldn't get past the blue line. Svedolf back with it now. Good one through the middle, picked off by Carter. Tooney is able to take it right back for the Rattlers, make a move and brings it in. Tooney moves in and shoots one. That misses high. Now Somorowski sent that one wide. Out to the far side, and It's fed up through the middle. In comes Giordano Schwer with a shot, and that's gloved by Patrick Cullen. Jobandere against Svedolf. It is won by Svedolf. Banked off the glass, but not out by Orekhov. Here is LeBlanc trying to get it off to Jobandere, but Svedolf took that away. And a quick feed, in comes Orekhov. Dangles his way through. Got a shot away, and that just barely misses wide. What an opportunity that was for number 9. But back the other way comes Jobandere. He chases after it in the corner along with Munitz. The two both go down as it comes back to the line for Boldu. Fires one that's off a stick and wide. The far side, Kroto gets away from Mizikov. Center pass broken up by Plotnikov, and he's back in control of it. He sends it up to center. Xavier Boldu back controlling this for Meaford. Somorovsky all over him. Force a turnover. Top line is out, but he lost it, and Karanen has a partial breakaway, closes in and rang it off the crossbar, and it goes out of play. My goodness. Lucas Karanen came very, very close to getting Meaford on the board. Well, Lucas Karanen definitely understood the assignment there, knowing that one of the fast skaters on the Rattlers, Mikhail Plotnikov, was giving it everything he got, trying to hustle back to get on him. But Karanen still got a really good shot off, and he just barely missed. Rang it off the bar. Plotnikov now brings it in, drops it off for Carlson, and he had a stick tied up. Now a feed to center. Trokin twists and turns and gains entry, stops up on Ovakimyan as it's sent in. Into the corner. Moravsky wins a battle as it comes loose to the line. Kept by Kreef in a shot, and that's blocked in front. Now Borowski trying to send one through the middle. Kreef read that and broke it up. Now Borowski nearly lost it. Now he did. McClellan finds Trokin. Looks to feed one across, but a nice sliding effort by Ovakimyan prevents that from happening. Now battle for along the near wall. Sishikov gets it to McClellan. He missed it in the corner. And Ovakimyan has control of it. Pass bounced off a skate, and it's recovered and sent back deep into the Rattlers zone. Dominikas Borowski finds Carlson. Quick feed through the middle. Abadov turned that over. Jeremy Kreef controls this, leaving it for Sishikov. Now Trokin drops it off, and McClellan looks to carry it up further, but Koch swept that away from him. Now Carlson brings it in, gets by one. Moves in, takes it in behind, wants to go for a wraparound, and Trokin read that. Now a feed to Mamedov, and that's stopped there by Brannick. Picked up by Kreef and sent off the boards and back down. Won't go far enough for icing. Vadim Berezin, former Toronto Flyer, leaving it for Oliver Koch. Up the middle, he finds Sarev. Able to stay on side here. Dropped off, and a shot is shot aside by Brannick as Oliver Koch let that one go. Now it's battle for the corner. Toss it back. Quick feed up the right side off the mark with Keir Shepard, and it goes all the way down for an icing on the Knights. Yeah, Mikhail Sishikov tried to get things going and start a quick rush. And Keir Shepard unable to take that pass cleanly. Offensive zone draw back to Berezin. That shot's blocked in front. Koch off the side. Back to Koch, and Brannick makes a stop there. Yeah, that's another thing that the Rattlers are good at. Really quick passing plays. We saw that right there with Sarev and Koch. Very close call for sure. Brannick made a really tough save. That was a nifty setup too. Bang, bang, and then the shot. That's how quick they are. And that's one thing that has made the Rattlers so great, as you see another icing by Meaford. All those little things that I've touched on so far, their speed, their passing, their ability to win puck battles, those are just three of so many unbelievable things in the game that the Rattlers have excelled at each in the last 3 years when they won the Russell Cup. And sooner or later, teams are going to be taking a lot more note of that. There's going to be a penalty coming up on the Knights meanwhile. There's control. Let's see what we got. It is a slash. It's going to be served by Zilka, it looks like. Yeah, number 71 is going to go to the box here. 12:54 to go here in the second period. Couldn't really tell exactly where it was. It was a little bit away from the play, but the officials definitely had a much clearer view. Saw Zolta take a whack, and that results in another power play opportunity for the Rattlers. Picked up by Joe Bandoran, sent down 200 feet. Out of the net goes Cullen to leave it for Matvei Munitz. Getting away from Trokin. Drops it off. Had to be careful. Trokin's still there as Mamedov's passes off the mark. And an icing is called on the Rattlers. Well, this is one of the rare times where the Rattlers were a little bit sloppy with that quick breakout pass. They're usually really good at those, but not in this instance. Isaac Carlson skates it up through center, moving up the right side. He brings it in, trying to get a backhander off, but he was double teamed by Kroto and Boldu. Now Plotnikov far side. Gets it to Carlson. Trying to get away from McClellan. Quick feed off to the near side, and Mamedov couldn't take that pass as it bounces up to center ice. Carlson definitely had the right idea, but a little bit of an unfortunate bounce for Gabriel Mamedov. Mamedov back with it. Carlson lets it go for Tsarev near side. He gets tied up as it's sent back in by Boldu. Knights getting their second PK unit out there for the last 43 seconds of this man advantage for Bradford. Brought in by Isaac Carlson. Centers one in front and unable to pull the trigger. There's Mamedov, but now he fires one, and Brannick's able to make the stop of the pad. Back to the line, Munitz spins away from Timraz Olsen. Munitz looks through traffic and fires one. Left pad save is made there by Brannick. And Timraz Olsen will flip it up to neutral ice. Quick feed, Carlson just offside. Yeah, Schulander was still deep in the Knight zone trying to tag back up. And Carlson kind of got a little impatient. Offside's called. 15 seconds left in Zilka's penalty. Kroto had a stick tied up by Meyerchick as he was looking to move up. But Meyerchick brings it back in. Meyerchick trying to center one. That's off the mark with Schulander. Now Boldu. Borowski and behind the net for Schulander. Has expired. So a strong PK by the Meaford Knights. Now it is picked up by Kurbanov, sent all the way down, and with the penalty having just expired, it's an icing on the Meaford Knights. .42 remaining here in period number 2. Still 3-0. Off the draw shot from Schulander. This is wide. Back to Borowski with a drive. That's knocked down the front. Backhander sent just wide by Oliver Koch. Now sent back to the line. Borowski gets away from Kurbanov. He fires wide. That's knocked down the front. Meyerchick tries to keep it alive, as does Borowski, who spins and sends it deep. Kroto and Schulander do battle. Sends it off to the near side. Knights look to clear the zone. They could not. Battle ensued there. Roto picks it up. Looks over his options. Joe Bandere will get a hold of it and get it up to center ice, but Meyerchick will make a move and carry it back ahead quickly, but Kurbanov took that away and flipped it up to neutral ice once more for Meaford. Now back in the Rattlers zone, it is Meyerchick. For Koch. Kurbanov took a run at him. Pair number 13's battling there. Vakimian thrown off a check, but Bandere took that away, and then Meyerchick had his stick knocked out of his hands, and a slashing penalty is going to be given to Samir Kurbanov. Well, this too was a little bit away from the play, but it was one that was a lot more noticeable out of the corner of your eye. I mean, I was able to see that when the play was more towards the center circle. So it's power play for the Rattlers. Ooh, that didn't take the ball. Screws that one home. 6 seconds is all it takes for the Rattlers to make it 4-0. Plotnikov has his second power play goal of the hockey game. Right off a face-off win, puck comes loose to Gabriel Mamadov, and he's able to wire that one through and set up the tip in front for Mikhail Plotnikov. Just 6 seconds for the Rattlers to extend their lead. The other assist, as you have just heard. It is Berezin finding Svedolf, and then through the middle, Somorovsky gains entry. That's bumped off there by Shipley. Mysigov sends it in the rest of the way. Picked up and sent to center ice. Caleb Sarin, in his first appearance as a member of the Rattlers after spending last season with the St. George Ravens. There is Caleb Sarin, D-man from Toronto, Ontario, at the line. Shot there is caught by Shane Brannick. .8:35 remaining here in period number 2. I think it's safe to say that Mikhail Plotnikov is an early candidate for the #1 star of the game. Yeah, he's had an unbelievable performance so far with a pair of power play goals. Ooh, Knights came very close to getting a chance in front, but Schwarr couldn't get on it. Yeah, 2 power play goals and an assist for Plotnikov so far in this game. He's having himself quite a night. Puck comes loose, and Munitz had that chopped away from him. Meyer Bergeron couldn't clear, however. It is kept alive by Schulander and sent into an open corner. Proto back after it. Schulander gets on him quickly. Left off to the near side, and Meyer Bergeron will send it through center. Knights wanted to conduct a change. If they had a little bit more gas in the tank, they could have had a 2-on-1. But now a feed in front, and Carlson couldn't get a hold of that, as looked like Tooney was trying to set him up. Rattlers changing up their lines a little bit. Well, Plotnikov has just come back out, but now Rattlers almost got caught on a change as Trokin carries it in. Plotnikov ties his stick up, and Munitz is back in control of this. Long pass kicked away by Kreef. Able to stay onside as he brings it in. Spanorama pass intercepted by Carlson. And a feed up ahead. Here comes Mamadov in alone, and he sent that one just wide. That was a quick feed up ahead. And again, it's Isaac Carlson with that unbelievable hockey IQ of his. Here he is again, taking one away and moving and ringing one off the crossbar, and it goes out of play. Oh my word. Another close call. You can see Carlson slamming his stick on the ice in disbelief, thinking that he had a goal there, but he just missed it. Rang off the bar and went up and out. Shepard Dobecka back with this off the drop. Off to the north side. Knights try to clear. A set of battle ensues. Goes off to the far side. Meyer Bergeron and Meyerchick converge with one another as it comes loose to Schwarr. He will look to get the biscuit out of the zone. And Meyer Bergeron and Borowski collide as it goes back down, and that collision negated the icing potential. Borowski back with this. Errant pass is stolen by Carter. Going to go off to the far side. Trying to punch it down low. Borowski and Schwarr were tied up with another. There's a shot there missed wide from Dobecka. Now a four-man scrum is won by the Rattlers. Ovakimian outlet to Meyerchick. Left side, cross-ice pass finding Zarev. Takes it behind the net. And a feed in front is broken up by Zilka. Zarev gets back on it. Top of the left circle. Drops it off to the line, and Oliver Koch sends it back in. David Meyerchick in the corner. Looks over his options. Saucers it over to Koch. Trying to back one in, but Brannick had other plans there. Just under 5:30 left in period number 2. 4-0 Rattlers lead. Ovakimian goes back after it along with Shepard. That'll Zub. Trying to center one in front. That's broken up. Now Ovakimian finding Somarowski. Turned it over, and Proto, the Knights captain, sends it back in. Dominikas Borowski, defenseman out of Lithuania. Fed up the right side. Mysakov moves up with it. And he got poke checked there by Proto. Comes back to the line. Here's Berezin pinching in and firing one. That's blocked in front by Proto. Picked up by McClellan. He will get it up to center ice. And Meaford will look to send it down the rest of the way. Zub gets bumped into as Schulander's back with it. Quick feed up the right side. Missed everyone. And it ends up being iced by the Rattlers. .427 remaining here in period number 2. It was 3-0 to start the second period. The only goal we've seen thus far. The Knights get the second goal that we have seen in this second period. They cash in and get on the board as it appears that Matus Trokin chopped that one through Cullen, cutting the Rattlers' lead to 4-1. I was just saying Plotnikov was the only goal that we've seen thus far, but as I was saying that, Matus Trokin off a mad scramble in front was able to get that one through, and Cullen didn't pick it up, and it appears that number 98, bouncing puck on a deflection, misses high as it comes loose to the far side. Pavel Tooney turned it over. Did you hear this? Reef gets an assist on that. Couldn't exactly tell who got the secondary, but nonetheless, Meaford is on the board. Here comes Marekov, battling for it in the corner. Turned it over, and Timur Olsen will skate it up through center. In comes Trokin, drops it off to Timur Olsen, who fires one off the post. Oh, Meaford came very close to getting back to within 2 as Timur Olsen slams his stick on the glass in frustration. It's a very unfortunate bounce for sure. You can tell how much Meaford wanted it. They did get one not too long ago. False start, Meaford. We're going to try it again here. .258 left in period number 2. Tie up off the draw. Current pass by Carter misses the mark, and Carlson gets on it, drops it off, and that is stopped by Brannick on Plotnikov. That was definitely a very good quality stop by Brannick. I gotta say, Carlson and Plotnikov have done a really good job in establishing some good chemistry throughout this game. I mean, they've linked up twice. We got the assist on the first Plotnikov goal, and he got the primary assist on the Muniz goal, which Plotnikov got the secondary. Mamadov looking to center one. Comes back to the line instead. Borowski kicks it to keep it in. Works it down low for Plotnikov. Takes it to the top of the left circle. Off to the near side. Ovakimian back to Borowski. Then to Carlson to drive. That misses. Off to the near side it comes. Ovakimian keeps it in. Shot one. That's blocked. Looked like it caught his own man in front, actually. That being Carlson. Now he controls along the near half wall. Into the middle. Mamadov couldn't fire that. He had a stick tied up. Minute 38 left in the second period as Riley Carter sends it in the rest of the way. Borowski back up ahead quickly. Here comes Gabriel Mamadov. Able to stay onside somehow. I thought they could have been offside, but that shot misses wide from Plotnikov. Borowski back to the line. Sarin tried to fire one. That's steered wide by Carlson. Into the corner. It is Plotnikov. Borowski looking for the pass. Instead it goes back to the line, and Sarin couldn't range over to keep it in time. He is back on it at center. Minute 4 to go. Toss back for Oliver Koch. Borowski back with it. Gets away from Joe Bandore. Takes a bump to find Samarovsky, who fires one. That's off the glove of Brannick. Set up ahead, and here comes Keir Shepard. Sending it in from the red line, and Colin will stick it aside for Muniz. Here comes Matvei Muniz. Stays onside again. Very close call for sure. Half a minute to go. Battle for in the corner. Comes loose behind the net. And first on it is Oliver Koch. Back to the line. Muniz a drive. Pad save is made by Brannick. Picked up and unable to be cleared there by LeBlanc. It's kept alive and sent in there. Samarovsky behind the net. That's a bit of a bump there from Kreef. 10 seconds to go. Off to the far side. Sichikov ties up with Koch. Comes loose to McClellan. Try to clear the zone. Could not. Now it is swept up to center. And there goes the horn. The second period is in the books. So both teams trade a goal each. Mikhail Plotnikov with his second power play goal of the hockey game made it 4-0 before Meaford got on the board with their first goal, courtesy of Matusz Trokin. So that's where we stand after 40 minutes. At the end of the second period, the Rattlers lead it 4-1. the Bradford West Delivery Leisure Center. We're just going to get right into this third period. It's a 4-1 Rattler lead over the Meaford Knights. Mikhail Plotnikov got his second of the game in the second period before Matus Trokin got Meaford on the board. Third period is underway. Back with this is Roman Arekov. Fed up ahead. Carlson finds Plotnikov quickly in. Shot one. That stop. Rebound and making another fine stop is Brannick. Into the corner. Rattlers getting right back to work. Flipped up to center ice. Chasing after it is Trokin. Matvey Munitz. That's on it first though. Arekov. Right side Plotnikov. Somehow stayed on side again there with Carlson and Mamedov both in pursuit, but the Knights got it up to center ice. Trokin thought he might have drew a penalty, but clearly indicated otherwise. Some of the fresh ice slowed it down and they stole it. Now Sichikov gets back on it at center. Dmitry Meyer-Bergeron veers off to the left and gains entry. Moves off into the corner, trying to center one in front, and Carter couldn't get a hold of that. Now Plotnikov lobs it up ahead, too far to Carlson's reach. And an icing is called on the Rattlers. Minute and 11 into the third. Face-off coming up to Cullen's left. Off the draw, comes back to Kreef. Meyer-Bergeron, pass misses Carter. Off to the far side, Carlson tries to clear it out of the zone, and he does. Now he possibly has a 2-on-1, but he's offside as Mamedov was a step ahead. And it definitely seems like the linesman has been a little bit lenient when it comes to close calls at the attacking line for the Rattlers. This time, though, they do call offside. There have been some close calls, but some of them they let go. Others, including this one, they didn't. Into the corner, Tsarev punches it down low. Meyer-Bergeron gets on it first and steers it out of traffic. Steered down from center by Carter, and Cullen goes out of his net to find Ovakimian, who does the same for Meyerchik, and then Tsarev had that bounce off his stick, and Sichikov is back with it. Shore gave it away. Borowski closes in and fires one wide. Out to the near side, it is McClellan, getting it as far as the Rattler line, where Ovakimian leaves it for Meyerchik. Gave it away. Shore tries to shake loose of Borowski, but he stayed with him and got it ahead for Meyerchik. Too far out of Sarah's reach, and an icing is called again on Bradford. The Rattlers did have the right idea there. They just didn't execute that pass cleanly enough. Off the draw, Cullen makes a tough stop on Trokin. As McClellan sends it out to the inside side, tries to clear the zone. Could not. Cut by Shipley, fit in front, and that's broken up as Caleb Sarin, the former St. George Raven, right place, right time, broke that up. Now it's sent back in once more. Ovakimian fends off Timraz Olsen. Caleb Sarin tries to clear the zone, could not. Cut by McClellan and sent deep. And it bounces off the apron and up and out of play. It's an unfortunate bounce for Meaford. They're going to have the face-off outside the blue line because of it. It's just one of those weird things that can happen. Zilka and Schulander do battle. The latter wins it and sends it into an open corner where Tooney gets on it first. Out to the far side, Zilka and Schulander battle for it again here. Punch down low for Tooney behind the net. Into the far corner he goes with it. Then back to Sarin. Then Tooney once more. Trying to get away from Zilka. They play catch. Sarin from the blue line. That is caught by Brannick. David Mooney gets the top line out there. Plotnikov, Mamedov, and Carlson. They lose control. 2-on-1 developing for Meaford. Meyer Bergeron closes in and fires one, and Cullen makes a stop. Goes to the corner. Plotnikov tried to clear the zone. Could not. Short kept it in, but on the second effort, the Rattlers do get it back down. Won't go far enough for icing, thankfully for them. As Carter will find Meyer Bergeron. Another possible quick rush for Meaford, but number 34 in black lost control of it. And Carlson is back in control of this. Up to center ice, Arekov. Poked away but recovered by Carlson. And in the attacking zone, tosses one in front, and Plotnikov couldn't knock it down. He gets on it here and banks it off the boards back to the line. Munitz whips it over to Arekov. Fires one, that's tipped wide by Plotnikov. And back in the corner, it's chased after by Schwar. Battle for there. Comes back to Munitz at the line. Walks it. Keeps control of it. Then takes into the far corner. Then in behind. Number 26 in white still in control. Punch down low. Plotnikov battling there with Boldu. Fed in front for Carlson, and he scores! Isaac Carlson came very close to getting a goal earlier, but he is not to be denied here. It is 5-1 Rattlers. That could be something that David Mooney might consider, is having Plotnikov on that top line. He and Carlson have been working together so well all throughout this game. That's now the third time they've linked up, and it resulted in a goal. And Carlson gets on the board. Here they come again. Mysagov brings it in and fires one wide. Plotnikov, the lone assist. Brannick out of his net, whips it over to the far side. Ovakimian at the right point, tries to keep it alive, could not. Trokin gets it up to center. Rattlers might want to call on Creef, but they're not going to get it. Pops up into the air. Batted out of the air with a high stick by McClellan, and it appears that there will be a face-off back in the Meaford zone as a result. Looks like we got a timeout called by Meaford. That is the case. There is a penalty that has been given to Arseni Ovakimian. That was more focused on the timeout that was called by Meaford, but number 15 in white is going to be serving some time here. 14:37 left in the third. It'll be a power play for Meaford. Meyer Bergeron take the draw. Clean win back to Boldu. Fed over to McClellan, far side. Lawson escapes, and Meyerchick will look to possibly generate a shorthanded chance. Oliver Koch drives wide on Boldu. Takes it behind the net. Off to the near side, Matvei Munitz. That's away from Trokin. Trying to kill some time off this penalty, possibly generate a shorthanded chance. Meyerchick in front, and three Knights surrounded him. And one of them, that being Trokin, has control of the puck here. The drop comes to Boldu. That's away from Meyerchick. Comes back to Trokin. Trying to send it deep, but that's knocked away. Kept alive, and Trokin moves in and shoots one, and Cullen makes a stop and holds on. Yeah, that's one thing about when it comes to beating Cullen, the more I've seen him make some saves, you're not going to beat him from the high slot area. He's a really big guy and covers up so much of the net. He's kind of like a Swedish Ben Bishop. Really big guy, and it's really hard to score on him. And we've seen the way Meaford scored their only goal thus far against him. It was off a mad scramble in front, and the game winner for Ville Marie last week was another prime example of that. Scrum ensues in the corner. Borowski wins the battle, and Gabriel Mamadov will send it back down. Brannick will play it away from Carlson, who was lurking. Now ahead comes Giordano Schwarr into the offensive zone. Stops up, skates up a snowstorm. Centering pass broken up by Carlson. He finds Mamadov. Short-handed breakaway. Mamadov in alone. Stopped by Brannick. Big time denial there by the Meaford netminder. Now Schwarr out to the far side. There's still 13 seconds left in the penalty on Ovakimian. As Jeremy Kreef trying to orchestrate. Carries into the offensive zone up the right side. Tries to spin away from traffic. A feed in front is broken up by Carlson. That'll do it for the power play for Meaford. Back to 5-on-5. The Rattlers so strong defensively. Meaford did get a really good look there. Oh, here's a turnover in front. Karanen couldn't get the pass as LeBlanc was trying to set him up. Now back the other way. Shoelander in on the corner. Drops it off to Tooney. Creeps in and fires one. That's shrugged aside by Brannick. Back in front again, and that went through the crease, and it's recovered by LeBlanc. Couldn't clear though. Munitz keeps it in. Off to Shoelander, who fires one. That's blocked in front. And Karanen makes it off the boards. Still held in. Munitz trying to center one. Broken up by Jobin Doré. Karanen gets it up to center ice. Munitz up ahead off the stick of Kopech. Patrick Zilka chops it up ahead, and it's brought in by LeBlanc. Moves in and shoots one. That's off the leg of Munitz and wide. Into the corner now. Nobody's got possession here. Shipley flung one. That's knocked down in front. And Munitz will send it to the near side, to the line and out, and hustling after it is Pavel Tooney, moving in on a partial breakaway, and he is stopped by Brannick. It's the second breakaway that Shane Brannick had to deal with in just mere moments of each other. Now Ovakimian back in, off to Tooney in front, and Ovakimian couldn't take the pass there. Zilka gets a hold of it. McClellan, 3-on-1 if the Knights hurry. McClellan shoots one, and that just misses high, and it bounces off the glass and out of play. And Colby McClellan, who had a pair of goals a few nights ago at the Bob Fallis Arena, not too far from here against the Bulls. 3-0 Meaford win. Came very close to beating Cullen on that clear-cut 3-on-1. That was a very dangerous look for Meaford. They couldn't cash in. Loose at center. Sent in by Somorovsky. Sishikov back after it. Somorovsky gets on it again here. Shepard tries to clear the zone, and he does as it bounces away from Hotko. And now in comes Timraz Olsen. Drives wide on Sarin. Drop pass intercepted by Mysagov. And the Rattlers play keep away in their own zone before getting it up to center, where Sishikov recovers. Makes a move, carries it in. Mikhail Sishikov fires, and Cullen makes a stop and holds on. I think it was Jeremy Kreef that was on the near side. There was one of the Knights that was looking for a pass, but Sishikov insisted that he maintain control. Meaford taking their sweet time, trying to make sure they have the right guys they want on for this next shift. LeBlanc gets up there with Carlson, And it looks like Meaford's going to go a man down. LeBlanc still giving some shoves to Carlson, and now they got the gloves off. Holy word. Must have been something that Carlson did to drive Xavier LeBlanc up the wall. And yeah, number 15 in black for sure is going to go here. Presumably for roughing. He actually wanted to drop the gloves, but Carlson did not accept the challenge. But a crowd gathered nonetheless. It's a 4-minute penalty on LeBlanc. Carlson has gotten a 2. So I believe roughing minors on both Carlson and LeBlanc. And I believe an extra 2 on LeBlanc. Maybe for unsportsmanlike conduct, but we will find it out in the score sheet once this thing is all said and done. So meanwhile, it is a 4-on-4 for a couple minutes, and unless any further penalties get called, it'll be a power play for the Rattlers after that. Oliver Koch at the halfway mark of the third, taken away by Timraz Olsen. That's broken up. Out to the far side, Borowski got it up ahead, and in comes Sergei Tsarev. Steps up, feeds it over to Bracken, who fires, and Brannick is able to make the stop there. Well, that was a very quick setup. Roman Arekov had all kinds of room on that left side. Brannick was really sharp there. Oliver Koch to take an offensive zone draw. In discussion with the referees, they're going to talk things over. And going to the Meaford bench, making sure that everyone's on the same page. And now a chat in front of the Rattler bench as well. .9:47 left in the third. It is a 5-1 lead for Bradford. Schwarb to Brannick's right. Off the draw, Tsarev sent that one wide. Try to bank it in for a sharp angle. Back of the line, Arekov. Off to Oliver Cox. Left side, Borowski. Goes in and fires one. Brannick is able to make the stop there. Now Jeremy Kreef carries it up to center ice. Off to the left for Giordano Schwarb. Gets away from Arekov and spins it back to Kreef at the left point. Kreef fires one. That misses wide left. Bounces to the near side, Sichikov. Meyer Bergeron keeps it in and fires one. Easy glove grab is made by Cullen, and then he plays inside for Koch, and now Arekov. Ahead come the Rattlers, 3-on-2. Arekov right side, trying to feather one in front. Kreef wouldn't let him do that. Now a battle ensues in the corner, which the Knights win. Kreef lays it for Meyer Bergeron, who picks it up and sends it the full length. And icing is called. 4 seconds left in Carlson's penalty. Now, one thing you may or may not have noticed, Mikhail Plotnikov was actually serving some time in the box for Carlson. And now Carlson got back into the box. So there must have been some sort of an equipment issue. Oh, there's going to be a penalty on the Rattlers here. Ovakimian interfered with Dimitri Meyer-Bergeon. So there must have been some sort of an equipment issue with Carlson. Must have been something the matter there, which is why Plotnikov was serving some time for him. And of course now, Arseny Ovakimian is gonna be in the box after he was tied up with Dimitri Meyer-Bergeon. So it's gonna be a 4-on-3 power play for 24 seconds, and then once that's done, it'll revert to a 4-on-4. Michel Croteau fires, and Cullen is able to make a stop. 8:30 to go here in this closing frame. It'll be Trokin gonna take the draw. Lost it, and Rekov clear it immediately. 10 seconds left in the power plate. That's why it is not an icing, of course. Ovakimian's penalty is in effect. Here comes Croteau. Now the first penalty, which was on Isaac Carlson, is done. Ooh, big collision. Carlson straight out of the box, nailed Xavier Baudou, and that gets the Rattlers and their fans fired up. Meyer-Bergeon with a shot, and Cullen is able to make a stop. Yeah, that was a ripper for sure. Dimitri Meyer-Bergeon, who got one goal back on Wednesday in a 3-0 Knights win over the Bulls. McClellan, of course, as I mentioned before, got the other two. Was a really good hard wrister, but that's the thing with big goalies like Patrick Cullen, who take up a lot of the net. If you're going to want to beat them, it's best to do it in tight. That's what I've seen so far with the Rattlers netminder. In comes Colby McClellan. Off to Timur Olsen. That's taken away and cleared up to center ice. Jeremy Kreef has to wait for a teammate to tag back up as it's sent back in. 50 seconds left in the 4-on-4. And then it is cleared out of play. .7:21 left in the third. 44 seconds left in Ovakimian's penalty. Minute and 7 left in LeBlanc's penalty. They're going to have a face-off outside the Rattlers line. Controlled by Schwarp. Tied up there by Munitz. Timur Olsen looks to help him out, as it's still fought for. Plotnikov gets control of it. Number 25 in white is on hat-trick watch. He's got 2 of the 5 goals that the Rattlers have scored thus far. Here's a Rekov in front, and that's knocked away by Tsichikov. Jeremy Kreef has it back. Off to the left. Shore banks it off the boards to center. Timur Olsen could knock it down. It is by Plotnikov and brought in. Plotnikov feeds it across. Shoelater a backhander. That's stopped by Brannick. Now it is left for Tsichikov by Schwar. Number 17 in black veers his way through center into the offensive zone with a shot, and an easy glove grab is made by Cullen. Ovakimian's penalty's done, which now makes it a brief power play for the Rattlers. 15 seconds left in the LeBlanc penalty. There's an equipment issue with Patrick Cullen. There's a strap on the back of his mask that was fixed by the referee. Off the draw, Trokin trying to center one. That's broken up. And Shoelander will outlet Brian Kopech. He comes, feeds it across, and Cooney couldn't get a hold of that. All he does here is it's sent back to the line for Sarin. Sending it deep. Penalties done. We're back to 5-on-5 finally. Stroken looks to get away from Kopech. Couldn't clear though. Kept by Schulander. Moves in, trying to shoot when he fanned on it. Then it's poked off him into the corner. And behind the net, Kopech trying to center one. Stroken breaks that up. And a quick pass up the left side finds Shepard, and he will aim the red line and send it in. Oh, a neck guard is lost. It was that of Somarowski, and play is whistled down. Yeah, that's a thing that can happen sometimes if it isn't on tightly enough. It can just come flying off. It's not the player's fault when that happens, though, because that's a thing that can happen quite a lot, actually. Ooh, off the draw, McClellan sent that one off the side of the net. Now the centering pass in front is broken up and pops up in the air into the corner. Centering pass here is broken up by Berezin. Just under 5.5 left in this one. Off to the near side it comes. Now into the corner. Flipped up to the line and out as it couldn't be held by Dobeka. Svedolf tries to advance. That's bumped into Somarowski after it. Then it's batted out of the air. Not by a high one, says the official. Comes off to the far side. Svedolf sends it into the corner. Mysakov gives it right back to him. Svedolf goes back to Ovakimian, right point. Shoots one through screen. Pad save is made by Brannick. Off to the near side it comes now. Somarowski down low. Mysakov gives it right back to the new guy wearing number 6. Adam Somarowski to the far side. Mysakov back to Berezin, right point. Shot is blocked. Bounced off of Timraz Olsen's leg back up to center ice. And Vadim Berezin will outlet Svedolf through the middle. Natan Svedolf stops up along the far hash marks. Into the middle. Berezin fires one, and Brannick comes up with that for the whistle. It's been another strong performance by the Rattlers. Plotnikov, Sarev, Munitz, Plotnikov again, and Carlson. Those 4 contributed on the scoreboard. Plotnikov with 2 of them. Matus Trokin, the lone goal for Meaford. In comes Mikhail Plotnikov, stops up, moves off to the middle, poked away from him by Shepard, and swept up to the line, but not out by Karanen. Munitz keeps it in, trying to fling one through. That's blocked by Joban de Ray. Taken right back. Mamadov sends one in front, and Plotnikov is robbed point blank by Shane Brannick. Very close call, as Plotnikov almost got the hat trick. That keyword almost. Gabriel Mamadov had everything in his power to get it from behind the net to in front, where Plotnikov was positioned. And Brannick made the stop. Didn't look like Plotnikov got all of it, but nonetheless, good stop. Corner Meyercheck, along with Koch, comes back to the line for Munitz. Walks the line, gets away from McClellan. Quick give and go, and it couldn't be held by Arekhov. He has to go back to his own line to get it. Just over 3.5 minutes to go. Pass up the right side, finds Meyercheck, and in he comes. Meyercheck shoots one, that misses wide left. Passes around to McClellan. Couldn't clear. Koch keeps it alive. Trying to center one, broken up by Shipley. McClellan picks it up and sends it slowly back down. Matvei Munitz gets away from Timraz and makes it off the glass ahead. Couldn't be knocked down by Tsarev. Now a 4-man scrum along the far wall. Knights win the battle. Then it's sent up ahead, and Carter will get around Munitz, but the second man back, that being Koch, poked it away from him. Inside 3 to go. To the far side, Tsarev. Didn't like what he saw and nearly turned it over. Now he did to Seichikov, who fires one. Blocker save is made by Cullen. Now behind the net, Carter trying to center one in front. That's broken up by Meyerchick. And Oliver Koch will look to buy some time as Trokin is draped all over him. Kimian up the right side, finding Sarev. In the zone, Sarev tries to get away from Meyer-Bergeron. Last-ditch effort, he cycles it in deep. Tooney gave it away, Shipley. And a battle ensues in the corner. Poke loose to the other as Carter looked to keep it moving. Couldn't clear though. Borowski off to the far side. Just over 2 to go. Picked up by Shipley, sent up to center ice. Dominika Sporowski in over the line. Shoelander takes the pass. Zilka knocked that away, and then another neck guard is lost. And it was Zilka. Had that slip off of him. So he's gonna go to the bench. Minute 49 to go. Kopech gonna take an offensive zone draw. Clean win back to Sarin, skate to stick. He sends it deep into the corner. Kopech sends it off to the near side. McClellan tries to take it away and clear it, but he couldn't. Tony keeps it in, drifts and takes it into the near corner. Back to the line. Berezin couldn't get a hold of it. McClellan did. Off to the far side. Minute 25 to go. Patrick Cullen off to the near side. Rebecca keep it in. He's back up. Down to the night zone. McClellan one-touched it ahead. Brief had that poked away from him by Sarin. And Dobecka sends it back in. We're in the final minute. Puck bounces off the linesman. Kopech sends it in. He wasn't over the red line when he did. Icing is called with 55. A really strong showing throughout this game by the Rattlers. Had a spirited tilt with Bill Marie last week when they came up just short. But now they're about to get back into the win column. Shepard in front. Karanen couldn't take that pass. Sarin sends it over to the near side. Shipley tries to keep it in. 36 seconds to go. Fed up ahead. Shoelander has Kopech with him. Drags it around him. Backhander misses wide. Eisenhoff sent that one through. Zilka knocked it away. 24 seconds to go. 20 remaining now. Shepard backhands it in the rest of the way. Well, the Rattlers came up just short a week ago, but they get a 5 spot on the board here against the Meaford Knights. 2 seconds and 1. And this baby is in the box. It is a 5-1 victory for the Bradford Rattlers. Another strong showing as the 3-time defending champs get back into the win column. Here Shepard has some words for Carlson. Let's wisely just back off. What's done is done. So the Rattlers celebrate and salute their fans and prepare to head off. So here are the 3 stars of the game. Number 3 star, I'm going to go with Sergei Tsarev. He had a goal. That was the second goal, what turned out to be the game winner. Number 2 star, I'm going to go with Isaac Carlson, a goal and a pair of assists. And the number 1 star with 2 of the 5 Rattlers goals, adding 2 assists as well. It is indeed Mikhail Plotnikov. So that's going to do it from the Bradford West Golimbury Leisure Center. The final score, Bradford Rattlers 5, Meaford Knights 1. Standing in for Nick Stella, this is Cliff Kirby saying thank you all so much for watching. So long and good night.